Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing good today. Now, I'm delighted to be joined by Mark. This possibly might be streamed as well on his channel, so just wanted to say if there's any new people watching this, big up to you guys. But today, obviously, we know the season's ended and we're going to chat a bit about the transfer rumours because there's been a few little bits going on. But first of all, Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Soph, and we planned to do this a year ago, and unfortunately we couldn't.
Yeah.
So it's great to finally be on. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, and yeah, we were going to do this, and it's really great now that we're able to do this. Big up to Des as well. Great to see you in the chat. Hope you're good, Des. But yeah, as I said, the season has ended, and I'm quite glad it's ended. I think it'd be nice to just see who we bring in the summer. But we have been linked to a few players, and I wanted to start off by talking actually about Gabriel Magalhaes because he is set to sign a new deal, which I think is really great to hear. I'm personally delighted about it. Are you surprised that he wants to stay in the sense that we haven't really won much silverware? And I think if he wants to stay, that sort of tells me that he believes that we will get success in these next few seasons.
Yeah, do you know what? First and foremost, I believe that his wages prior to this new contract is only 90,000 a week, and when you put that in perspective of the top players at Arsenal and the important players of Arsenal Football Club, that is like really low. And for someone as important as Gabriel, I personally feel I'm delighted by the news. First and foremost, he is my favourite player, but I also think it's very justified. It's really well justified that he is getting this new contract, and he's shown commitment. You're right. A player of his quality could go into almost any team in Europe and be winning trophies. But he has shown the commitment to Arsenal, and it just makes me love him more. So, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's really great to see that he's committed to Arsenal. And I think with Gabriel, I definitely see him as a leader in the team as well. I think we're quite lucky to have quite a few leaders like Declan Rice as well and Gabriel. And I think he's been quite a fan favourite this season. I think he's definitely up there for player of the season. It's obviously a tough one to decide, but I think Celiba
Yeah.
usually is the one that gets a lot of credit, and I think this season we've really seen Gabriel get a lot more appreciation, which I think has been really nice.
I would agree with that. I think Gabriel's like so important to Arsenal in every sense. He reminds me. He reminds me of Terry Butcher back in the days of,
Yeah,
if you can remember. And Terry Butcher actually had that game for England, and he got his head cut open and had the bandage around, and it was bleeding, and he was still heading the ball, etc. And I looked at Terry back then. I just thought he was a no nonsense defender that was fearless, and I think Gabriel's that for Arsenal. He's just a no nonsense defender, and where Celiba, although being brilliant as Celiba is, I think that he's fashionable. So a lot of Arsenal fans direct their attention towards Celiba, but I think Gabriel is more important to Arsenal's defence than Celiba
yeah,
is. I really do believe that. So I'm. This is like it's just the most amazing news. It's the best signing that we could make for me. There's another couple after this one, but this is obviously the first step in the right direction. And Gabriel is a leader on and off the pitch,
yeah,
and we need him. Arsenal need Gabriel. They really do
yeah.
need Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if it ever came down to it, and it would be a horrible decision to make, but I do sense that Gabriel would be a bigger loss than Saliba. I think they both would be a really big loss if it ever came down to, if we had to get money for one of them. But I think we're quite lucky now as well to have such a great defence in him and Saliba. Because I think years ago, I mean, the last few seasons under Wenger, Emery's time, we've really struggled defensively, and I think it's great that we've really changed and improved in that defensive area. And I think it's nice, as we've mentioned, that Gabriel's going to be here, at least till 2030. And yeah, I think it's only good news, and obviously it'd be nice to see when it does get announced. And I think it definitely leads the way for other players to sign the deals as well, because I mean, it'd be nice for these other players to extend their deals as well. And I think if Gabriel's doing it, I do hope some of these players will follow in his footsteps. Big up in the North Bank. Big up Pablo. You have all claim for the Liverpool fan. Big up Pablo. Gabby's signing might make Celiba think twice about leaving. Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you see Celiba leaving anytime soon? Because I just don't know.
Yeah, so if I am of the opinion that Celiba is designed to be a Real Madrid player, and I actually had on our own channel, we done like a dream transfer window, and I actually at one point had Celiba going off to Real Madrid, and Huijsen, who Real Madrid just signed from Bournemouth or are on the brink of signing, actually bought him in because he had a release clause of 50 million. Now, this summer is important for Celiba for me, because
Yeah,
if he's got 2 years left, and we are in contract talks with him. So if he is not going to sign, I'd be cashing in on him. I do not want Celiba to do a Trent Alexander and walk out of
yeah,
Arsenal Football Club where you lose 100 million plus, because I think Celiba could demand that. So I would be looking to sell Celiba this summer if he's unwilling to sign that new contract. That's my take on it, because I'm not losing him. And if we go into next year, he might be tempted. No, I'll stay an extra year and run this down and walk away free. So I think this summer with Celiba is massive, and I just think eventually Celiba is going to be destined for Real Madrid. I've felt that since almost his first season at Arsenal. That is his final destination. So I I'm in the balance with Celiba at the moment. I would
yeah.
love to keep him. Him and Gabriel are the best partnership in Europe, in my opinion. 1,000,000%. Both of them are best partnership, and I want to keep them, and I want to keep the best players at Arsenal. However, if Celiba will not, and his camp do not look like they're moving on this contract, I would be putting him on the market and going out there and getting someone else.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't see it happening this summer, but I think next season, obviously, it does depend on who we bring in the summer, how our season goes. But I think a lot of it does depend on next season. I mean, if we don't win anything, I wouldn't
Yeah.
blame him for wanting to leave. But at the same time, as you mentioned, if he is going to leave, we need to get a good amount of money for him. And like you said with Trent, you can't. I would hate for Saliba to leave on the free. I
Uh,
think that would be terrible. So, yeah, it'd be
yeah,
awful.
so that's your worst nightmare. So, in
Yeah.
all honesty, you just can't lose a player of that caliber on a free transfer. So that's the two coming back down to just 2 years left. It is a worrying factor for me. I don't know if I would have the heart rate and my heart would cope with him going into have down to 1 year left, and we're faced with this situation where he could decide to run down his contract with a year to go and leave on a free transfer. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Most people will be shouting at me in the chat, like, you can't do that to Celiba, but sorry.
Well, the thing is, as well, I mean, these things could happen in the future. We just don't know how the summer's going to go, especially next season. I actually wanted to ask you about this. So I wanted to bring up this about what you make of Tierney leaving. Thought he was absolute class. Shame to see him go. What did you make of him going?
Yeah, do you know what? Kieran, I love Kieran, and I'm not using the Scottish bias when I say this. I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan
Yeah,
when it comes to Kieran. But Kieran, I remember him turning up with his Tesco bag, like for a game, and I remember him going out to warm up. And it was snowing, and he's the only person in short sleeve shirt
yeah,
and also shorts. We all remember these pictures, and that's Kieran through and through. He'd done this with Celtic before he came down to Arsenal. And I think he's a true professional. And the bit where I am gutted for Kieran, and I think Kieran could have still gave us something at Arsenal, because although they're being Bert, I kind of like on the right hand side, you could have a Timber that inverts into the midfield, or we could have Ben White that'll overlap or right back. I feel on the left hand side we're one dimensional now. We've completely went to inverting. So for me, I would have liked to seen Kieran stay and just having that natural wing back, so or left back, to go up the wing and just put crosses in like Kieran did. So I like that dimension of it. However, the injuries have obviously stopped his progress at Arsenal. The That's massive and foremost, and yeah, it's just came to a time. It's obviously Arsenal style of play or Arteta style of play, and Kieran, the way he plays, the injuries, a whole lot mounting up. Maybe it's just time that he goes back to his boyhood club, who I
Yeah,
cannot stand. By the way, I cannot stand Celtic, or Rangers. Both of the teams are like not my cup of tea. But
yeah,
so yeah, for me, so it is a little bit heartbreaking. I thought I would have been okay with it when I got to the last two games. I did
yeah.
feel a bit like, I mean, he scored against Southampton. I did have a like, there was a tear there, like, yes, come on, Kieran. But yeah, that for me was, it has to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah, I think, as you said, like we all knew it would probably happen with the season, and we knew over the last sort of 2 seasons he hadn't been playing, and I think it is a tough one because I think the injuries are a big factor. I don't think he could ever stay fit as in the starting 11, but I would have probably kept him to have maybe as that second choice player to come on, but ultimately he is good enough to start in the starting team somewhere. So I think it's nice for him to go back to a team that he loves, and I think that's obviously nice. But I think there has been times where he could have played. There's been opportunities, and I still think he is good enough to be in the Premier League. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a shame we've not really won more with him. We've only just won an FA Cup with him, but I think it's lovely to see how much the fans appreciate him. I mean, if you ask so many fans about Tierney, everyone would speak so highly of him, and I think that's a
Yeah.
lovely way to leave the club. And I think it's obviously sad to see him go. As you mentioned, he's got that great personality. I mean, since he came in, I think we all really loved him, and I think it was nice to see a Scottish player really play for Arsenal. And I think I just really like Tierney, and it's for me it's sad to see him go, but I think it's the right thing for him if he wants to really play. Um, Big up in the North Bank this season, Big Gabby. Unsurpassed Celiba this season with performances where Celiba was the top performer. I think they were both very good. It's a tough one, really, isn't it? Because I think
I
Gabriel
just
stood
ignore
out.
the rest of his comments. So that's nonsense. He's actually speaking nonsense, so it's right there.
Big up Geordie. Big up everyone. Let me just go through some of these comments. Oh, I got one here actually for you. What did you think of the season?
I think the season itself was a very hard one, so because
Mm,
I am not like, I get called that I'm Arteta before I'm Arsenal and etc. And it's not that at all. So if I look at Arsenal Football Club within context, and
yeah,
I did rant last season on the transfer window where we're on the brink of Man City 2 points behind, and we do basically nothing in the transfer window. I'm not saying that against Mourinho or Cal Fury. Um, However, certainly a certain player from Chelsea that came in very late that's not even worth the airtime. So we'll leave
yeah,
that to the side. So I was very frustrated at that time. But see now in hindsight, looking back, I think the board and the owners couldn't really do anything, and nobody was doing anything. And I think one thing that we're not partial to is, or we don't know about, is the FFP. So,
yeah,
so we don't know the club situation on that. Were we close to beaching? Were we not? It was a very dry window for every club. Not much happened across. So then you come into the season. That was my first point where I was very disappointed coming into the season. And then I look at the season. We finished 10 points behind Liverpool, who had no pressure on them all season, as far as I'm concerned. And then you look at the injury list. I've not got it to hand, so if I had it the other day, but I read out the injuries, and basically our first 11 or our first 14 players have been injured at some point in the season, and some of them for large spells of the season. So we're not just talking like Declan Rice was out for 3 weeks, for instance, with a broken toe. So that's maybe a short-term injury. But we've obviously had lost Big Gabriel at a crucial point. We've lost Saka for a massive period. We lost Havertz, massive period. Odegaard came back seriously injured, and then the list goes on. Jesus, Mourinho, 13 games at the start of the season, shoulder injury since he signed out of it. So if you take that context in, and then you think of Arsenal still managed to get second, 10 points behind Liverpool. And then you look at Man United and you look at the likes of Tottenham, which with similar injuries, not as bad as ours, similar injuries, then I think we've actually had a successful season. I think we've progressed this season because Arteta's still got a tune out of this whole entire squad for even with all these injuries. And this is context. Arsenal fans choose not to listen to it, but I'm not making this up. This is true. And then you then throw another factor of PGMOL, who brought rules in at the start of the season where you couldn't approach the referee, only the captain could, and you couldn't kick the ball away or touch the ball away, or it was a booking. And then halfway through the season, after Arsenal had been heavily penalised by it, we've had players sent off, Rice, Trossard, etc. You then go into the second half of the season where players are kicking the ball out the stadium when it's like rather than just like touching it 2 inches off the park like Rice did, and they're not getting booked for it. So when you add all that context together and then you take the European run and
Yeah.
we get to a semi-final of the Champions League and we could have so far. It was just one step too far, and we could
Yeah.
have been playing in the Champions League tonight. So for me, it's progression. So the whole season, yes, at this point, we never came out with what we deserved. Disappointed at the injuries, disappointed why the injuries occurred. If that was a big enough squad, and maybe Arteta could have rotated a bit more. You've got all these factors, so, but I think it's still progression for the football club, and I think we're way to go into the meat of that, where is now's the time, Arsenal, now's the time, board, to go out there
Yeah.
and get what we need to get us over the line. Because so for me, we are so close.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and that's what's so frustrating is that we're so close to achieving something, but we're not getting there right now. And I think as well, like we never know what goes on behind the scenes with the Conclaves, how much money Arteta gets. I mean, Arteta will get some money, and it's up to him. I know Edu at the time when he was here. It's up to them what they do with it. Um, I think in January, I never really thought we would get anyone, but I think there's been many factors on why this season was a bit different. I do think the injuries do play a big part because
Yeah.
I mean, if Liverpool were out without Mo Salah, they would be different. And Saka is probably one of our best finishers, best players, and most consistent player. So I think without Saka, we did really struggle. Odegaard's an interesting one because when he was out, when he was injured, we did miss him, and I think unfortunately he just didn't become the player we saw. I mean, these last few games he's been great, and that's the Odegaard we know. So I hope next season he can push on. But I think as well. I mean, someone's mentioned about Sterling, and I do think these players need to be responsible as well because Arteta might get things wrong. Arteta will put out these best 11s, but ultimately these players have to really step up. Um,
See, that message is just naughty. He's just trying to wind me up. Just like that is trying to wind me up. He knows my thoughts on
that
it.
I've got to say though, like I didn't know what I expected when Sterling came, but it's probably what I expected. I think he scored one goal in like a cup game, and that was it. But it just wasn't great at all. Like I don't think we'll miss him really because he just didn't add anything really to the team.
His son's actually just signed for the academy today. I think his
Yeah,
son's
I saw
eight or
that.
nine. Yeah. The guys in the group chat are winding me up on it that Sterling signs for Arsenal, and I'm just like, I was ready to go over and start supporting Real Madrid, if I'm being honest. But I clicked on and seen that it was Raheem's son
I thought, yeah,
instead. But yeah, it was just the guys winding me up. But no, Sterling was a horrendous signing, and unfortunately, I got done for the Carabao Cup game with Bolton, and he actually scored in that game. That's the game that you're
Yeah,
talking about that he
yeah, I think it
scored
was that
on.
one. Yeah,
And then I was down for the PSV Champions League game, and um, that for me never went well. And I was reminded the next morning from Paul, like who runs our channel, that he actually got man of the match that day. So the guys do like to like throw these digs in at me regarding it, but Raheem is a disaster from
yeah.
step one right through. There's stuff that I said on my channel. So, but I would never say on yours. So I'll leave it at that when it comes to Raheem. It's just not a conversation worth having. And Des has been very naughty there.
Yeah, he just. I don't think he had much expectations. I don't think fans expected a lot of him coming in anyway. But I think we'll be glad that it's done, and I think it'll be good for a good summer. We have starved and hoped keeps us going. We need something now. We have been labelled a nearly club, and I can't accept that. That's the thing as well, that I just don't want to be that club that finishes second that nearly does it. But as you mentioned, I think the Champions League though this season, I think that impressed me a lot more than the league. I think we could have gotten to that final. I think if we have a striker, I think we had a great chance. But I do agree with what you're saying. I don't think we were there yet. I don't think. I think if we got to that final, I think we would have struggled. But I think in the summer, if we have a big summer, I just hope that we can get there. But for you, from what you've seen throughout the season, how many players do you think we need to bring in for next season?
So if I think, I mean, if I went through, because we're doing it like a dream window at this moment in time, and our dream windows, and I've kind of went through, and I kind of added about seven
Mm,
on mine, but that's kind of some of that's fantasy. See, for me, I think if you're bringing in, like if Thomas Partey stays, you bring
yeah,
in Zubimendi, for instance, then that would be one. You bring in the striker, that's definite. We definitely need a left winger. I would let Martinelli or Trossard go. So that for me, like it's definitely three that we could do with. I would yeah, that would be three. Ethan would be done. Maybe try and bring in another attacking midfielder as well.
yeah,
Um, so that would be four. Someone to back up Odegaard, because I would have Ethan like trying to get his minutes out on the right hand side to take time off Saka, and then maybe one more defender depends on the likes of Kivior, Leeds, etc., and also a goalkeeper. A
yeah,
backup
yeah,
goalkeeper, that is
yeah.
essential. The backup goalkeeper is absolutely essential. So, right there, I would say six players. So, if we're going to need six players now, I'm not saying that they all have to be world class players, but I do think that that is the kind of window that Arsenal should be looking at.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the obvious sort of one, a striker, but I think a backup goalkeeper is so important because I was saying in my videos, if Raya got injured, like we're in big trouble,
Oh,
and it's also a good thing as well when we have the cup games. We want to be able to rotate, but still have a strong team that can do the job. And I think we've got to really bring in a backup goalkeeper that maybe won't ever be the number one, but will be strong in the position
yeah,
because where we are now, I mean, I know Neto and there's been a few chances, but I wouldn't feel confident if he had to step up in the league if Ryan gets an
no,
injury. But yeah, that's definitely something we've got to do. Yeah, I think the strikers probably the priority. The midfield, obviously, Zuba Mendy is set to, be announced soon, which would be good. And I think, as you mentioned, I think Partey's probably staying. I know we've heard rumours about him extending that, so it kind of might help us if he stays, so we don't need to bring in more midfielders. But yeah, I think we're gonna have a big summer. I think there's a lot of players that we need to bring in because we know with Jorginho going, and we don't know who else might go. So I think it's good that we're able to replace him. Um, but I wanted to ask you a bit about Sesko because everyone has their own favourite of who they'd want as a striker. I think for me, if I had to pick, it wouldn't be him. Probably it'd be Isaac or Gokares. But um, do you see him improving Arsenal next season if we're in? a Champions League semi-final? Can he take us that step further? Like, what is your thoughts on this rumour?
Sit on your seats and strap in, guys. And wait, break this down for you, right? We done analysis on the two players, Gyökeres or Sesko. Now, instantly, we've done a tactical breakdown on them, and the guy's done a brilliant job. So what I would where I would go with this of is see if Arsenal struggled against the top six teams in the Premier League, the teams are the likes of your Liverpools or your Man Cities that will go toe to toe with you and open up a bit. And I would say Gyökeres would be the guy. But we
Yeah,
don't struggle getting points from them because we don't struggle getting points from them. We're already doing that. And we're doing that with Havertz up top. So that's where I feel Gyökeres' strengths could come if teams were open. Maybe Champions League, Gyökeres would do well on that because the likes of Madrid's, etc., would open up a bit more on that. However, that's not where we failed this season, and it's not where we've been failing. Where we've been failing is in a low blocks of. So the low blocks are the teams at the bottom of the league that are doing that to us. We're losing far too many points. We're
yeah,
through 14 games this season, and that was obviously the deciding factor on the league or not winning the league. So for me, you bring in Sesko. This is where we win the league. Um, when you're playing that low block and you're trying to change 14 draws down to say 4 or 5 draws, which could be the difference to get you over the line, Sesko is your guy. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's an absolute powerhouse. He's like going to be the next Haaland. I've no doubt with that whatsoever. Ball striking ability, he could smash a ball from 30 yards, and he's one of the best ball strikers out there. Gyökeres has got the numbers, and it's in the Portuguese league, and he's got a decent team around him for by the standards that are there. For Sesko's seventh in RB Leipzig, and like they don't have a very good side, so he's not getting the same kind of service. So I think Arsenal fans have been comparing that, but my cheat code on this is 80 minutes in, we're drawing against all these teams like that we struggle against normally. Be 10 minutes to go. We have Sesko up top, 6'4", 6'5", brilliant in the air. We put Havertz on. He's pushed up in there. Mourinho was in our midfield. We're telling him to get into the box. We bring in a really world-class winger or top winger on the left-hand side. And we've got Saka and him putting balls into the box. So that is a cheat code. We
yeah,
will win with the last 10 minutes. No teams will be able to handle that and control that. So I'm telling all Arsenal fans that are losing their head out there right now on this battle between Gyökeres and Sesko, please calm down. Sesko is not a project. Yes, he's young and he will get better and better, but he's already at a standard that will do a job for Arsenal Football Club. So I'm very much Team Sesko. We go over the line. I'll be absolutely delighted. We still need to get that left winger for me, though. So
yeah,
that is so
yeah. Me too.
important. But this Sesko deal, we need something different. Last season, there was one game that we put 22 crosses in the box and there was nobody on the end of it.
Yeah, we need someone that's going to be there.
So, and Gyökeres is not good in there. He's not good in there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I get the impression by some fans they're not really satisfied if we just brought in Sesko as our striker. And I know for me, as you've mentioned, we do need a left winger. We need something. We look quite predictable sometimes, so I think we need something different. But I'm with you. I think with Sesko, I definitely see him improving. He does improve Arsenal. And it's an interesting one, and I wanted to read this because it's a really good point. Let me just go back actually. Um, about Isak was never a realistic option. Neither Sesko or Gyökeres have played in the Premier League, so why are people quick to write off Sesko and not Gyökeres? It's a good point because there's no guarantee that either of them. We don't know how they're gonna if they both come in the league with different teams. We just don't know how they're gonna do. You can only look at how they've played, their stats, and hope they can do well. But I think either of them would be good options, and I'm happy Arteta is addressing that because we need a striker so bad. We've not really probably had a striker, I'd say, since Aubameyang.
Yeah.
I think we've really struggled in that aspect, and I think we really could win stuff if we're able to bring in the striker. But I'd be happy with Sesko. it's sad we got Jesus and Havertz on a serious wage now. We need a serious striker that's going to deliver, going to end up playing 1 mil a week on 3 strikers. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what would happen with Jesus, to be honest with you. I don't really see his future being at Arsenal, but I don't see him leaving in the summer. Havertz, I do probably think Havertz will start next season. I think we've seen him get minutes towards the end of the season, and we know Havertz can get us goals. I just don't think he can get them as much as we need to. But yeah, I'd be happy with Sesko. I think it'd be a good option. To me, both are the best available on the market, so let's be happy with either of them as long as one of them are brought in. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I'd take any of them as long as we're able to someone to get both. I don't
That's a
see.
bit greedy. That's a bit greedy. But see, the thing is as well, Havertz could actually play as. I think first and foremost, I think Sesko would have to adapt. He's only 21-year-old. I think he would have
Yeah,
to
it's very
adapt.
young.
So, but once that adaptation happened, then Havertz could also be your Martin Odegaard. He
Yeah,
could play in that attacking midfield. So you're open up. You could open it up a bit. So
yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting next season as well because I think we're going to see some players maybe playing different positions. I mean, Marino, another one. I mean, he's been playing quite well towards the end of the season in that position, and I do think Havertz starts over Marino. But you know, we've got these options now, which is good. If we do bring Sesko in, we have a few different options. But this summer for me is going to be really big for us because I think we have to get it right. I think next season, I think fans are going to ask questions. I mean, if next season comes and say we bring in Sesko and we bring in a few other players and we just aren't able to get over the line again, what would your thoughts be? Would you just want to continue things with Arteta and the owners? Would you want
no,
to just keep going?
no, Soph, I wouldn't. I think that we're now at the point of where I am, where if as long as Arteta's given all the tools that is required to get
Yeah,
us there, and I believe wholeheartedly, and he'll get my full support next season, that we can do it. But however, if we ended up second with an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, I think it's time that, like, just to say thank you. You've taken us as far as we can
yeah,
go, and but we need to try something new. And it's nothing bad. I'm very much Arteta, and I love Arteta. But I do
yeah,
feel if we give him all the tools at this stage, it's like this is time. It has to bang now. If it's not going to explode now, then it's not going to happen. So yeah, next season, but he must be given these players. He's never been given them, and I think it's got to happen this season. So
yeah. I do agree with you. I mean, I love an FA Cup. I love any trophy really. I think the main one we all would love would be either a Champions League or the league. I think if we won the league, I would say it's really impressive to those that do win the league because it's a long process, week in, week out. And I think with the Champions League, I think it is a bit different. I think sometimes you can get a bit of luck, sometimes it can go your way. But with the league, I think it's really tough. But yeah, I do really think we have to win things next season, and I really hope we do. And like we said, if we can strengthen enough in the summer, I don't see why not. And I know the team they'll want to win stuff for me. And Declan Rice, players like him, he's come to Arsenal to win things and to take Arsenal to another level. And
absolutely,
I think it's the problem we're having now is that we might lose some players. I think if nothing does change, because I'm with you with Arteta. Like, I want him to win, and he's so close to doing it. But also, we are struggling to get over that line, and that's the tough thing that we're facing. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. I think if it came to it next season and we didn't win anything, I think yeah, I just don't know how we would get through that. But I also think I don't see Arteta going anywhere. But yeah, I just really hope that we have a good summer ahead. I really do hope that we can bring in a lot of players because we do need it. Big up Victor. Havertz agreed. Havertz could play in the Odegaard role as well. with Sesko up top. Yeah, I completely agree. As Mark was saying as well, I think we will probably see players in different positions next season with the players that we're going to bring in, and I just hope that the players can stay fit next season. We'll see if it Havertz, Odegaard. With Odegaard next season, do you expect him to be back to how he used to be?
Yeah, 100%. I think that he's needing a bit of break, but it's also confidence as well. So, see, when
Yeah,
you rebuild up after a serious injury, it's not just a case of, I feel fine, my ankle's good, everything, the physios have said I'm okay, and I've got all the strength. You've got that mental aspect as well, where you could think, what happens if this happens again? What happens if I go into this challenge or if I do
yeah,
that, etc. So you've got to build up your own confidence back in your body again. And I think that there's been an element of that with Odegaard this season. And there's gains and glimpses of the players there, we see that. There is glimpses that's there, but by his standards, I wouldn't say that he's been poor this season. I would just say by his own standards, he's been poor. Because I think
yeah.
Odegaard's unbelievable. I really do. So I think a good break, get him back on the training pitch. I think he'll be good to go again. And Arsenal fans need to
Yeah,
maybe possibly just relax a bit on Odegaard.
yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, any injury can affect you in any way, even if it's not, a massive one. I mean, interesting, really, because I mean, Timber, I never expected him to have such a good season, and I thought he might have setbacks on the way, and he obviously, did amazingly. And I think with Odegaard, I mean, it probably just took him a bit of time to adapt. I mean, it is a tough one. I think him being a captain, it puts more pressure on him to perform at a high level, and I think with him, we need him to be there in the moments. I mean, it was great on the last game; he got a goal for us, but we do want to see that in those big moments. And I hope next season that's what we'll see from him.
No, definitely. I think, and you will. I think we will.
Yeah,
I've no doubt at all. Our captain will be back, and he'll be raring to go. He's an amazing player. You don't lose it because of an injury. He
yeah.
just everything will come back. So I'm not overly panicked for Odegaard. I do believe we'll get him back next year.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully to see that. Big up Reggie. Gokras handled the physicality in the championship. The quarantine did well. His numbers speak loud. We need a now guy. Sesko will develop in a couple of years, and then you will lose players like Celiba. I think because Sesko is, he's young and 21. I still think he's a great player. I still think people have that worry about him being maybe. I think Arteta likes project players. I mean, at the time, I felt Havertz was probably a project player, but Havertz did a lot better than I thought he would. I didn't really know what to expect from Havertz, and I think he's done good. He probably won't be our number one striker. He's a good player to have, but I do think people have that doubt about Sesko, but I think we'll never know until he's here.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I understand that. So if I totally understand like the doubts in that because he is only 21, etc. And
Yeah,
I'm looking at that like we need here and now and ready made. And I hear that argument as well.
yeah,
Coventry, when Gyökeres played for Coventry, they didn't play against low blocks. Arsenal are a complete possession-based side, and we face a lot of low blocks, and we struggle against low blocks. So if someone can show me footage of Gyökeres against a low block in a better league, by the way, I'm not just meaning Portugal, but in a better league, where that he's able to break down the low blocks, then I'll be for it. I
yeah.
will. I'll watch it and be for it. But for me, I just don't see it in Gyökeres. I do not see it, and I do not think Arteta or Arsenal will change the whole style of play to suit one player, and that is why I think Gyökeres is Man United band. I just don't see him at Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think either of them. I mean, Sesko, Gokras, whoever does come to Arsenal, I definitely see it improving. I definitely think they'll improve us. I do think though, as you mentioned, I mean, the left wing needs to get massive improvement because, I mean, I probably maybe expect Trossard to stay at Arsenal in the summer, possibly Martinelli, but I still think we need something that's just different because I think, as I've mentioned before, I feel sometimes we can look a bit predictable. We know on the right, Saka does a great job and he, puts all the work in. And the Martinelli scored some great goals, especially in the Champions League, and I'm not taking that away from him. Same with Trossard, I think they're both great. But yeah, I just think we need something a little bit different. Do you think the club are going to look at that area to sort of improve for next season?
I think they've got to. I would
Mm.
actually get rid of one of them, and I think I would get rid of, just because of the age, I'd get rid of Trossard,
Yeah,
and I would keep Martinelli. I would keep Martinelli. However, if the club decided to get rid of Martinelli, you could be looking at a fee of 50 million to 60 million for Martinelli, and that in itself is a major. Well, he would be classed as a homegrown player as well. So that money goes straight into the books. So it would be good for the spending power of the club. But I think Trossard and Martinelli are very similar in the way of standard. So and I just think we need that level up. Saka, we'll have Saka on the right hand side. That's just that absolute elite right winger. We need a left winger. So for me, it's Rodrigo. If
yeah,
he became available, that Rodrigo elevates Arsenal to the next level,
yeah.
and I think
That
we
would
need
be a great
that.
signing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Um, my bare minimum in the transfer window is a striker, left winger, midfielder, backup goalkeeper. Yeah, I agree with that. I think
Yeah,
I think obviously it would be great if we bought more players, but I think as well other teams around us are going to get better. I mean, Liverpool are doing good for their business, and I expect Man City to do the same as well next season. And I think as well with Newcastle, I don't think they're too far behind us really because I think they'll be doing the same thing. It's interesting with Isaac. I mean, I don't think we'll get him. I think that they'd probably want a lot more than we could offer. And I think as well, we need to. I don't really know the money situation, but I think we need to make sure we're bringing in not just one player because if we just got Isak, that wouldn't really improve us. It would improve us in a big area as a striker, but we need to improve, in a lot of areas in the summer. And yeah, I mean, injuries, we just don't know. You never know what can happen. And I think we just need to make sure we've done the best we could. I mean, I think the striker, the left winger, the midfielder, that would be great. I mean, the backup goalkeeper, as you've mentioned, that's another thing that's going to be important for us because, as you
see,
mentioned, it don't happen.
yeah. I was just going to say so. See, no matter what you do up front, like with a left winger, striker, midfielder, if you don't do that backup goalkeeper and Rhea goes out, whatever you've done up there will not matter because Arsenal will lose football matches.
Yeah.
As simple as that. So that backup goalkeeper, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you there, but
No, it's right.
that backup goalkeeper is like probably one of the most important
Yeah.
positions. If Rhea had went down this season, I would have hated to think where we would have ended up in the league, and
Yeah.
I really would have. So
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a massive position because as well, I mean, Riot, we have so many cup games. We've got so many games, different competitions, and I wouldn't expect Riot to play every single time. And I think we need someone that's able to do a solid job when they have to, because there has been times in the past where we've had backup goalkeepers and they've just not been able to do it. And yeah, I think those are all really important positions, and I think we're going to have a really busy summer. I think it's going to be a big summer. I'm really hoping, as we've mentioned in this video, that we will bring in quite a few players. But it's been really great to have you on my channel today. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, and yes, subscribe to your
oh,
channel and on Twitter as well?
yeah, it's in the North Bank. We're a small channel. We're only 16 away from our first target, so it'd be amazing if we could get there. It's a Arsenal fans. It's positive. I would say it's a positive channel, a bit like yourself. The where you do try to bring all the context out. Number of brilliant shows on the go at the moment. We've just had Adam Keys on. There's other guests that I'm hoping to go on, and hopefully, so we could have you on one day as
Yeah,
well. That'd be
definitely.
fun. That'd be fantastic. So there, and yeah, rather my Twitter page. Just go if you want to follow me, or yeah, but it is me as well. But it is I Bryn T for the N for north, and then B for bank. So just sorry, ITNB. That's it. So just please go and give that a follow. And yeah, and thanks for having me on. So I've loved it. I love your content. I love the work. You're very hard working, and you do more than just the men as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been really great to have you on as well, and hopefully this summer it'll be a good one.
Yeah,
But
100%.
thank you as well, everyone as well that has watched the show, that has commented as well. It's been really fun to interact with you all. And yeah, don't forget to give Mark a follow on Twitter and on YouTube as well. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.
Bye.